Hello, my people. Welcome to Sports with Jesse. It's I don't usually come in the evening, but we have good news. We've waited 2 months, and the English Premier League is starting. Football is back, and it's not only the EPL that is back this weekend. All the top five European leagues they are back. In fact, the lower leagues they're already playing. So football is back. You need to get the remote, the TV remote, off the hands of those guys who love to hold the remote. Don't start in trouble, but get your remote and be ready for this season. It's going to be sizzling hot. All of these teams are preparing, to win. And we're going to be going through some of the teams that I think are going to perform or they're going to challenge, for the title, you know, this season. Anyways, before I do that, I would like to acknowledge a fantastic act, that has been performed by Chelsea Football Club. Top, you know, guys. So what has happened is, as you understand, Liverpool lost Diogo Jota, um, unfortunately, um, and what Chelsea have done is the prize money they got from playing Club World Cup. They've decided that the pot that's going to be shared amongst the players, they're going to get some good chunk of money, a couple of millions of pounds, to the family of Diogo Jota and his brother, who unfortunately died, with him. So we think that is a fantastic act of chivalry, of goodwill. And honestly, I was really gobsmacked and surprised. So we need to give claps, to the Chelsea guys. You guys have been wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Chelsea, thank you. Okay. The other thing that happened was Tottenham. Tottenham lost, the European Super Cup to PSG. They led 2-0 until the 85th minute of the game, and they could not manage the game, to win, to get over the line and win that cup. And I guess the Arsenal fans are going to love it because if Tottenham had won yesterday, it would have been two European Cups in a row. And also remember that Chelsea won the Club World Cup, and all of these teams are in London. Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, who are vying for supremacy, they are London clubs. So the bragging rights would have gone to Tottenham, that is the most maligned out of all the London clubs. Not even Fulham, or West Ham, get that kind of stick, that Tottenham gets. But unfortunately, Tottenham did what Tottenham always do, that is snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, and that was what they did. They did, yesterday. Yeah, I felt for them, but it is what it is. So as we start for today, without much further ado, keep the comments coming in. Already, there's a Kenny online that said, "I can't wait for the season to start this weekend." Might I remind you that it starts tomorrow? Liverpool play Bournemouth in the Cotton Razor, apart from the cup, the Charity Shield. That is actually the Cotton Razor. But the first game of the season is between Liverpool and Bournemouth, and that promises to be a cracker. So let's keep the comments coming. That's what I want to do. So let's have an easy does it kind of presentation for today. Keep the comments coming. We will talk about what you think and what you feel, and then we can go ahead. So let's go into today's. I want to see the six top EPL clubs, what they have done, and at the end of the day, I'm going to give my predictions. So that's all I want to do. So first, I'll do the analysis. Let's see what has happened, to these clubs. And the clubs that I have chosen, that I think are going to vie for the EPL, title. They're Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, Newcastle United, and Aston Villa. Yeah, I know. You might say, where is Man United on this list? I will tell you what I think. This is from me, Jesse. This is what I think about the coming EPL. So take it like that. So let's see what Liverpool have done. So last season, none of all the 30 BBC journalists actually gave Liverpool any point, as an inkling to win, the EPL title. None of them mentioned Liverpool. It was always going to be between Manchester City and Arsenal. Okay. And for good reason too, because Klopp left, Arne Slot just came in, and he was going to struggle, to put the team together. He's new to the field, he's new to the club, he's new to the Premiership, all of those, put together. But we also know that Jurgen Klopp left the team, a viable team that has been cohesive. He rebuilt the midfield, he rebuilt the forward line, and he left fantastic, squad, to Arne Slot. But while Arsenal faltered and Manchester City also failed to find their boots, Liverpool strolled to the title. So it was a shock, to everybody. Number 20 in the bag for Liverpool. But it is not the same scenario that we have now. So right now, Arne Slot is trying to say, yeah, I won the EPL title with Jurgen Klopp's team, but now I want to assemble my own team. And as you know, there's a major rebuilding project at Anfield. So Slot has signed Florian Wirtz from Bayern Leverkusen for £100 million. Jeremie Frimpong, also from Bayern Leverkusen. Giorgi Mamardashvili, I hope I got the name right. And, Gyökeres also came in from Bournemouth. So, and there's this Hungarian chap who also was signed, the goalkeeper. I can't remember the name, right now. A lot has been spent. Like I said, okay, let me see. I've got a list here. Jeremie Frimpong, Milos Gyökeres from Bournemouth, Florian Wirtz from Bayern Leverkusen, Hugo Ekitike. How can I forget that? Hugo Ekitike from, the 6'5", 6 inches 5, gangling footballer. It's almost, a very tall chap, but he's also nimble as well. And also Giorgi Mamardashvili. And right now, as I'm, doing this show, there is a young defender from Italy, Leone, that is undergoing, his medicals, and is also going to be signed. And hopefully, the long running case, of Isaac, from Newcastle to Liverpool, maybe that gets done. That will be a major, rebuild, and that could create some sort of problem or challenge, for integration. You need to integrate this player. They're high-profile players. You need to find a system that works for them. And as you have seen, a lot of them are not even up to match their fitness yet. Like Van Dijk is not really. He's had an illness, so he played with the illness against Crystal Palace. So all of these players are still feeling, the club. They're feeling they are older players, and thinking, how am I going to connect with all of these, guys? So for me, that is going to create a problem. And we also have outflows. Nunes, some influential members of Liverpool, they've moved out. So Nunes moved to Saudi Arabia. Diaz went off to Bayern Munich. So there will be problems. So I will mention what I think about that when I give you my top, who's going to be where, my predictions for the end of, for the season. So Liverpool are the reigning champions, and they have the deepest pocket, in this transfer window. It usually used to be Man City, but Liverpool came out of nowhere. FSG robbed the bank probably, and they're spending so much money, but they're also recouping, some of the money they have spent. So when you look at it, actually, they're actually spending less than most of these other clubs. So they have a bold rebuilding strategy. They remain favorites, but I don't know if I'll say something about that later. So let's move on to the next team that is going to challenge. That will be Arsenal, no doubt. No doubt. That will be Arsenal. Managed by Mikel Arteta, they have stable leadership and they have a clear tactical vision of what they want to do. Although, with the incoming of a new football director, there's been some kind of clash, within the ranks, behind the scenes in Arsenal, over whether to go for this player or to go for that player. But all in all, Arsenal, they've been very near to the promised land, but somehow, I don't know. I think I'll give my opinion at the end of this, broadcast about that. Somehow they've messed it up. So in this season, they've added Martín Zubimendi from Real Sociedad, a defensive midfielder, to replace Thomas Partey, who departed, Arsenal. Everyone knew that Arsenal needed a striker for the last two seasons, a top nine that can bang in the goal, knows where the goalposts are. So finally, after back and forth, they signed Viktor Gyökeres from Sporting, football club in Portugal. Well, it's shown glimpses, because some of the criticism, well, he doesn't score with his head, blah blah blah. But it came his first goal for Arsenal, bang, it was the head. So, I have a lot of hopes that Viktor Gyökeres is going to light up the EPL. Although he didn't quite cut it at Brighton when he played there, and then when he moved to Championship, club, can't remember the name of the club now. He also did not perform, but went over to Portugal and he couldn't stop banging in the goals. So I think he's got the experience now. He has the patience and he knows what he wants. And especially when you are in a team, like Arsenal, that they have cohesive, teams. They're not chopping and changing everything. They have the spine of the club already, of the team already. It can go in there and do a good job. That's what I'm saying here. And also, Arsenal signed Noni Madueke, the English Nigerian, striker. This one I don't know about why they signed Noni Madueke. I understand that they need a winger. They need a winger on the left side. I do understand that, but I'll take Eberechi Eze over that. The difference between Noni and Madueke. Noni is a fantastic bowler. Don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic bowler, but I do think that he comes into that team and he helps them to sustain the level at which they are. But if you brought in Eberechi Eze, what happens is that it brings in quality and it lifts up the overall play of the team immediately. So that's the difference in there. So as a winger, they brought in Christian Nolgard from Brentford, He's a midfielder proven, and I do think that this guy is going to be a revelation because it's like it's like your silent workers. You understand? It's metronomic. It dictates the pace of and it defends. It does things in the way that it should be done without attracting any attention. It passes when it needs to pass, release the ball, run when it needs to run, tackle when it needs to tackle. When you can do those little things, easily and without fanfare, you are the engine room of that team. So I do think that is going to, turn out a fantastic, acquisition for Arsenal. And then also, Arsenal signed Christian Mosquera from Valencia. He's a defender. I've seen him in action. He's a decent defender. So we all know that Arsenal have two of the best, defensive pairs in the league. So they're going to do well. But if there's an injury, like they had injury to one of those guys, last season, Mosquera can just fit in. So Arteta is covering all of the areas that he needed to. And then they also, of course, another Chelsea, reject, Kepa Arrizabalaga, from Chelsea. He was on loan at Bournemouth. Yeah, and then Arsenal need a backup goalkeeper, and Kepa Arrizabalaga, was the favored one. So that is Arsenal. They have increased their depth, squad and balanced the upgrades. So Arteta now has no excuse whatsoever, going forward in all of this. So yeah, I told you to keep it coming. So Fede, you said Viktor Gyökeres played for Coventry and Swansea before moving to Lisbon. Yes, you're right. But he also played for Brighton. It was Brighton that where he started from. It didn't cut it there. It didn't, light up Coventry. It didn't light up Swansea. And then he moved to Portugal where he made he made it happen. He made it rain. He made the goals, rain down. Um, David, you said, I can't believe in no time a team will determine my mood for the next 10 months. Yeah, that's what we all go through with English Premier League. We all go through this. It is what we sign up for. Guys, we sign up for it. So for the next 10 months, we have to manage our emotions, because I do think everyone is kind of like building, and it's going to be really hard. What Liverpool had strolling into the team is not going to happen this season. Forget it. If you think that's what's going to happen, no, it's not going to happen. And Man City, they kind of went flat last season. I thought personally that Pep Guardiola is kind of like tired. Just like Jurgen Klopp was tired and he needed to leave. Pep Guardiola is also and his brand of football, tiki taka, and all of this pass till you die, I think is shifting. Now, new crop of players, of coaches, are beginning to play like Anthony Iraola of Bournemouth. They know they don't want possession statistics at all. They can keep the ball. They are comfortable when they don't have the ball, and also comfortable when they have the ball. So that presents a new kind of challenge to the school of Pep Guardiola, and Arteta belongs to that school as well. And if you look at the Chelsea coach, he's also a protege of Arteta, of Pep Guardiola. And when he started off playing all his tiki-taka thing, it didn't work for him. So he's kind of like tinkering and changing and kind of like blending to the new way of playing that people like Arne Slot, they bring into the table. So that's what's going on. So he's a tried and tested elite coach. That is a Pep Guardiola, right? And he has, been rebuilding as well. He started the rebuild last season, and this season he has added Tijani Reinders, from in the midfield. He has brought Ryan Adnuri, left back. He has brought in Ryan Cherky, in attacking midfield. He brought in James Stratford as a reserve goalkeeper, you know, and we heard that he's also going for Donnarumma and possibly Rodrigo of Madrid. So he's still in the market. He's still shopping, and the team is already good, and they have some of these old players, coming back into the team. So they have the financial clout, they have the structure. They were not in the challenge last season for the title, but they're coming back, and that is going to be crucial this season. Okay, so that will be Man City. So number 4 that we're going to look at is Chelsea. So Chelsea, they've really gone to town. The owners, they have this money that they want to spend. They don't care. They just spend it like it doesn't matter. Spend it like you don't care. In the last 3 seasons, they've bought over 50 players. Can you imagine that? They bought like 2-3 teams. They'll back them and they'll sell them on, loan them, do whatever. But it looks like they finally got a very good coach in Enzo Maresca. Though less proven at the top flight, but is beginning, to stamp his authority on that team. Remember, he won the Club World Cup and they beat the likes of PSG, beat Man City, beat the champions of Saudi, and beat the champions of South America as well. So and they've added attacking firepower. Imagine you getting Joe Pedro from Brighton, the Brazilian forward. They went to Brazil and get the Palmeiras, attacker Estevao. That guy, if you've seen him play, is a fantastic bowler. And they got Liam Delap, who was ex-Man City and ex-Ipswich Town, as a striker. And they recently got Jeremie Gittens, from Germany in Borussia Dortmund. So they have really strengthened, they've been really aggressive in the market. They also have Mamadou Sarr. They have Dario Esugo. They bought Yorel Ato. In this season, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've got 7 players already. And, so they're still looking to buy more. Yeah. So, and I think they're getting away from this managerial uncertainty. They are sticking with, Enzo Maresca. They have a youth, squad, and they have high potential. But what I think they do not have is that experience. So when you look at the Arsenal team, is full of experience. You have Gabriel, you have all of these teams in the middle of the pack, like the captain, they have experience within that team. If you look at Liverpool, they have experience, throughout that team. But you cannot say the same of, Chelsea. So the next club that I think that's going to challenge, you might be surprised, is Newcastle United. Yeah, I know. They're having issues with Isak. Isak is the icing on the cake for that team. But don't forget that it's taken them 3 years to assemble that team. And that team is still full of talent, and they have a fantastic coach in Eddie Howe, who has provided stable leadership. So that is what you have with Newcastle United. The team is solid. There's enough talent within that team to challenge, and they're not chopping and changing things like Liverpool, like Arsenal. They've kept, all of them together. And right now they've made 2 more signings, that is going to strengthen, that team. And they're still hoping to sign 2 strikers, So they are going to come good. Don't forget, 2 seasons in a row they got into the Champions League spaces. So they signed Anthony Elanga, and now Jacob Ramsey, from Aston Villa. has joined them as well. So they have been consistent, top six presence, right, and improving recruitment approach. So they're solid, but they are not. The problem is you question their ambitions. If you have to sack your sports director and you don't have a replacement, what do you have? And if Isak says he's no longer playing, why do you need all this drama around the team, which can affect your players? Sell him on, get the players who want to play in, focus on that, and go for the season. That's exactly what's going to happen anyway. But why prolong it? And the last team that's in my top six is going to be Aston Villa. Unai Emery, the former Arsenal coach, has been performing wonders. He's been punching above his weight at Aston Villa. They actually gave PSG a run for their money. It was just a single goal that was between them. They could have, honestly, they could have eliminated PSG. So, Unai Emery is, now backed by Monkey. Is it Monchi or Monkey? I don't know. You let me know. Let me know in the comments if I'm correct, if I'm pronouncing the name, correctly. He's Italian. He's a new director of football. They're doing some really good business, out there, so their growth is sustainable. They are less aggressive, spending due to financial constraints and UEFA settlements, But they sign players, they mold them into fantastic players, and they sell them on. So it's a steady project, but they will challenge for the top, four. Now, you might say, why did I leave Manchester United out of this? You have to look at the last season. They have the worst performance in decades. 15th position with just 42 points is what you associate with, not even Bournemouth of this world. You associate that kind of return with teams who are promoted from the championship. Those are the teams you do associate that with. Yeah, they reached Europa League final, lost to Tottenham. It was the worst final I ever played in Europa League, history. So it's nothing to write home about. Ruben Amorim kept losing game after game after game after game. And this season, though, I think I will place them on the same pedestal with Aston Villa. Amorim is yet to prove to us that he is a coach that is able to adapt. He keeps saying, this is my way. It's either you adapt to my way or we do nothing here. We keep losing games. But now you might say that the personnel that he's got is not what he wanted, but they've given him money and he's been spending. Good spend, actually. So he spent 62.5 million on Mateus Cunha, from Wolves, and he spent 65 million on Brian Mbeumo, the Cameroonian, winger, who scored 20 goals last season. They spent 66.4 million on Benjamin Sesko, right? They also signed Diego Leone, an 18-year-old left back, for 7 million. So they were pursuing Carlos Baleba, but the 120 million pound price tag actually, scared them off. They might show interest in it next season if they do qualify for Champions League. Yeah, and one of the things that does not fill me with confidence about this team is that they are actually really, really maxed out when it comes to PSR framework. That's the amount of money you can spend versus how much money you bring in. So there's a whole lot of financial instability going on in Manchester United, and they could get all of these players and they could be doing whatever the magic on the field of play. You never know when off-field issues are going to affect, the team. So that's why I have not placed them in my top six, or otherwise I would have put them in my top six. I would have, lowered Aston Villa and put Manchester United there. But let me know what you think about that. So that is what we're dealing with. Now, before I tell you what my own top 6 players are going to be, let me show you what people are thinking, what experts, are saying in the UK, who is going to do what. So let's go here and see, what the Premier League writers are predicting for this season, 25-26 EPL season. You can see here that there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pundits. Yeah. And Clark is saying Arsenal first, Manchester City second, Liverpool third, Chelsea fourth, Man United fifth. Kayumba is saying Liverpool is going to win, Arsenal is going to be second, Chelsea is going to be third, and Manchester City is going to be fourth, and the fifth is going to be Man United. You see, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Newcastle, and I just placed down there. Keble is saying that Manchester City is going to win it, Liverpool is going to come second, Arsenal is going to come third, Chelsea is going to come fourth, and Aston Villa fifth, Newcastle sixth. Okay. Bloom is saying Manchester City first, Liverpool second, Chelsea third, Arsenal fourth, Newcastle sixth, Man United sixth. I mean, that is shocking because I do not understand. Are you going to say Arsenal is going to come once number 4? But prediction is prediction, mates. It is what it is. So, with Edward, it says Man City first, Liverpool second, Arsenal third, Chelsea fourth, Manchester United fifth, and Tottenham number 6. So that is that prediction. Talking about Tottenham, they've made some serious signing. They've signed Mohamed Kudus of Ghana. They have some pretty much fantastic signings, under their belt, and they've brought in a coach that I really rate. That is Frank. But I do not think that they're going to challenge, because what we saw yesterday at the European Cup finals is this Tottenham side that still needs a lot of work. That's what I think. There's still the DNA of Tottenham that is open to malfunctioning at any point in time. So that's that. So let's quickly go over another, this time let's go over to BBC and, see what the BBC prediction is all about. So as you can see, Chris Waddle, the predictor, will just take, some of these names. Chris Waddle is an ex England footballer and Tottenham great. He's saying that Chelsea is going to come first, Arsenal second, Manchester City third, and Liverpool fourth. I don't know what he's been drinking, but there's something that we need to check. Now, Joe Hart, of course, what do you expect from Joe Hart? Is former Manchester City. He picks his team first, Liverpool second, Chelsea third, and Arsenal fourth. I don't believe Arsenal is going to come fourth, because when you look at, that team, but I will say that later. Let's go to Michael Brown. He thinks Man City is going to win it. Liverpool is going to come second. Chelsea is going to come third, and Arsenal fourth. Okay, Steph Houghton says Man City first, Liverpool second, Arsenal third, and Chelsea fourth. Paul Robinson says Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. Nedum Onuoha, the English Nigerian, says Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea. And let's talk about the female there, Farrah Williams, thinks Liverpool, City, Chelsea, and Arsenal in that order. Michael Richards, you know him, believes that it's LFC, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, and Chelsea. And Troy Deeney, formerly of Watford, also thinks it's going to be Liverpool, all of that. So you see it. So we get the picture. So that is the prediction. So I need to make mine, and that is tough work. So I'll go straight to what I think is going to happen. I'll start from number 6. I do think that number 6 position is going to be between Aston Villa or Man United. And the reason why I said that is Man United have done something that Chelsea have not been able to do. They've been able to bring in real experience. Yeah, they might not be where they need to be. They might not get the right profile of players that they need to, but they've brought in an experience in Burmo, in Cunha, and those two guys, when they're fit and firing, they will fire you into the top 4. Don't forget that they still have fantastic players within that team. They have Fernandes, the captain. So, don't sleep on Manchester United, this time around. I'll place them and Aston Villa. Any one of them could come sixth. Now, to the 5th position, I'll put Newcastle. I should put Newcastle and Tottenham to say, but seriously, Thomas Frank is a fantastic coach. But Tottenham, they don't have the mentality. A lot of the times, title-winning sides have the mentality of winning. And I think some of that is a problem at Arsenal. Because if you look at PSG yesterday, it was a foregone conclusion they were going to lose that game. Okay, if they scored 1 goal, Tottenham will be able to shut shop, and that's it. But they came back. Even in the penalties, it wasn't going well for them. They turned it around and they won. So that is down to mentality and mindset. So I don't think Tottenham has that. So Newcastle, they have a steady coach in Eddie Howe. Even if they lose, of course, they're going to lose Isaac. But they're bringing in reinforcement and organization and structure. Those are the things that wins you game. And don't forget, they have some of the best midfielders, some of the best wingers in the EPL that is still in that team. So you cannot, run them. So number 4th position, I will put Chelsea within that. Why? Chelsea should be like number 2 or number 1. Based on the players they've signed and the kind of pedigree they've shown, in the early season, preseason, and at the Club World Cup. But the problem also is that a lot of all of these teams are strengthening. And it's going to get to a point where sheer willpower and a mindset to win and experience will be required. That is not within the Chelsea team. They're going to collapse. When the going gets tough, that is where I do believe the issue with Chelsea is going to come from. But they're going to be in the top 4 anyway. They might even go beyond this number 4, but for prediction purposes, we put them at number 4. Number 3, I would say Manchester City. Yeah. People, as you can see, people think they're going to be number 1 or number 2. I don't think so. You've seen it at the Club World Cup, and you've seen it last season that Pep Guardiola is actually losing his mojo when it comes to coaching. His ideas, his thinking, people have sussed him out, so they are outthinking him. Somebody like Slot, they are outthinking him. Even smaller clubs within the EPL are outthinking him. Okay, you want to have the ball, you want to pass yourself to death. Yeah, have the ball. But when we get you, we're going to eat you on a counter. So the defense is not what it used to be. and some of the players, Kevin De Bruyne has moved on after they actually replaced him. Is it Chalky that's going to replace De Bruyne? No. We've seen him play. It's not something you can magic something out of the hat when you need it, at the time you need it. So that is not going to happen, I'm afraid. So, Rich Wiz, you said, "Hi, hello, you're right." Keep the comment coming, and then I'll sort it out. So, they're established force, with the potential to rebound and become champions again, but I don't think it's going to happen this time around. Chelsea, they've moved up. Newcastle, they're beefing up. Arsenal, very, very strong. Liverpool is now stronger. How are they going to navigate all of that? They're going to drop points, to the teams around them. So that's it. So I think they've been number 3 position. Number 2, I'll say Arsenal is going to also be number 2. I know I'm going to get slated for this. Fine, bring it on. They should be number 1. Seriously. Based on cohesion alone, the togetherness of that team, they've not ripped that team apart. The spine of the team is intact. And last year they were unlucky with the Gabriel, injury. So he has to kind of like tinker with the back line. And some of the forwards like Jesus and the German, the tall German, the names somewhere around, he kind of like had that injury, and also the known problem of a striker. They did not get a striker. So now they have a striker. Gabriel is back. The front line, everybody is back from injury. What is going to stop Arsenal from winning? I'll tell you when I say my first position. I think I'm not biased. I'm a Liverpool supporter. Yeah, I think Liverpool are still the title favorites, going here based on the strong transfers that has been made, the depth. It is. I don't think. Yes, what's going to happen that they might lose that position will be that a lot of experience has been lost. Diaz, Nunez, they've left, and you have these younger players that's been brought in. But you can't say Gyökeres is young, quite all right, but it's been established in the Premier League. If you get Gehi is 26 or 25, captain of a Premier League club. So it will take time for them to gel. So they might be sketchy for the first 5 games. So, but once they click and going forward, trust me, they're going to be very, very hard to stop. So that's why I put them at number 1. Now, why did I say Arsenal might not win the EPL? It's not because I hate Arsenal. It's cold, hard facts that Mikel Arteta is not. He has problems with how he manages the team at sometimes, right? So I do think all of this, there's a single thread that is running through my choice of all of the teams I have pinpointed. And what is that? Is the quality and the pedigree of the coaches. Yeah, that's what's going to win, because Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, there's no difference between them in terms of the playing personnel. They all have teams that can hurt you any day. They can win any game anytime. But apart from Newcastle, Aston Villa, Tottenham, and Man United, you can look at the team and say, okay, they have a fantastic team, but this coach, can he win the league? Has he got the mentality to win the league? No. But when you take Arne Slot, Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, and Maresca, Enzo Maresca, you put the four of them together in your front, and you say, who do I trust most to deliver this? Who do I trust most to do more, like more sports? Who do I trust most to be able to outthink the rest of the crew? You come up with Slot, Pep Guardiola. Maresca is even kind of like growing in leaps and bounds more than Arteta. So for me, Arsenal should win the league, but they have Arteta there. I'm really sorry. That it is what it is. I will not take it Arteta over Slot. I will not take Arteta over Maresca. That is the way he is right now, or Arteta over um, Pep Guardiola. So that's it, my friends. Keep it coming. Tomorrow, join me once again. We'll be having this tomorrow so that we can look at the game that gets played tomorrow. You know, the game that starts, the first game of the EPL season, 2025-2026, season. And that will be Liverpool versus Bournemouth. So whatever you do, be good. Don't make troubles. Stay fantastic. Stay winning, and then keep subscribing to more sports events. We are poised to bring you all the best. Thank you.